Hiya guys, Crazy Teacher Nick here, back with you again. So I'm going back a little bit. I'm doing a new video on the key conventions of a blog. I haven't done a proper video on the key conventions of a blog before. I know that there's like a really old video where I look really horrid. So I want to get rid of that video and replace it with this one. So these are the key conventions of a blog, and you guys know I'm always talking about how important key conventions are. Remember, those key conventions are going to be your guide. You go into the text, identify the text type, and it's the key conventions that help you understand what devices you might find inside the text. So let's have a look at those key conventions. But before we do, okay, you're watching YouTube right now, okay, and this is a video blog, okay, so it's very, very similar to blogs in many, many ways, okay. The YouTube is completely full of all different experiences, okay, where basically people present themselves and they will use the vlogs for all sorts of different things. And the same thing for writers of blogs, okay? So they recount their personal experiences or reflect their feelings very much like a diary or an autobiography in many ways. It's like a record of our lives. I mean, if you look at the old video right at the very bottom, oh, shame, poor teacher Nick. Anyways, so over the last like probably 10 years, blogs really kind of took off. So I always tell my students to study the terminology, study the language in the textbook. Okay, so this comes directly from the Cambridge textbook, which I use with my students. Okay, and the reason I tell my students to use this language is because, well, all of the markers are teachers, and they will be using this language in their classes to teach their students about the key conventions. So it's going to be language that the students, that the teachers rather, or the examiners are going to recognize. Okay, so key conventions of blogs. First, they're normally accessed online. Okay, so in a way, they are slightly different, to diaries and autobiographies because they're designed sometimes to be aimed at a specific audience. Okay, and that audience can be restricted, like the vlogs, the YouTube video you're watching now might just be for specific people, maybe friends or family or personal contacts, or perhaps aimed specifically at AFC Wimbledon fans. Okay, so maybe aimed at a specific audience or a wider audience. Blogs are usually used to give advice, to sell, or promote. So look out for that persuasive language, okay, inside a blog. May use interactive features like hyperlinks. And my students at the bottom of their blog will add in a fake hyperlink. Okay, now this is the one thing that you can't really do inside your blogs, and in the exam you won't get them, but you do need to know that they might contain audio or sound or videos. Okay, they might utilize specialized or technical lexis or jargon. So let's say, for example, we're talking about AFC Wimbledon, my favorite football team, my home team. Okay, so there when you're talking about football, you'll be talking about the clubs, you'll be talking about perhaps Matty Stevens, one of our top goal scorers. So this is language that's going to be, that AFC Wimbledon fans are going to recognize, or perhaps, fashion. So, I know nothing about fashion. But, you know, I'm sure you talk about, you know, pret-a-porter or, you know, blouses or style. So it's language that basically will be associated with that specific audience. Technical language, maybe you're a mechanic and you have a blog about cars, you might talk about the engines and the... Okay, I don't really know much about cars either. I know a lot about AFC Wimbledon. Anyways, blogs are generally more informal and chatty, and that's very much to connect with their audience. Okay. But again, it depends on what they're talking about. So if it's let's say it's a blog about the law, the jargon or the lexis will be very focused on that type of language. But they might be a little bit more formal if they were doing so. But most of the time, they're pretty informal and chatty because that helps engage the reader. If no one's watching your videos, no one's pushing the like button or the subscribe button, you get very lonely. Anyways, it's the same with the blogs. If no one's reading your blogs, if you're not keeping your audience interested, no one's going to basically be reading your blogs. And so you've got to make it exciting. You've got to make it interesting. So here's some of the ways that we can do this. AFC Wimbledon. AFC Wimbledon. Anyways. So blogs generally tend to be informal, but be purposeful in their tone. Okay? So in the exam, keep the tone kind of conversational, but make sure it fits your purpose, which is what I was saying earlier. The purpose of a text is either going to be to inform, to persuade, or to reflect. So be careful about kind of sounding too casual. Remember, there's always a balance. Okay, so you got that semi-formal, informal, but don't use slang unless basically you're using it for effect. Examiners tend to generally frown upon slang. Okay, again, connecting with your audience, creating that correct voice in your blog. And this is not just for writing. Look for that personal voice if you're analyzing a blog as well. So you can use that first person I, you know, like in an autobiography in a sense, because the audience kind of gets a connection to you, or that second person, you. So, you know, have you subscribed yet? Have you pushed the like button yet? And that wasn't a question. Push the like button. And now, just like click the button. And it helps. It gets the video out to more people. Come on. Okay. So this creates a sense of connection with your audience without losing focus on the main idea, which is, I think, what I just did a minute ago. Okay, your structure of your blog. Okay. My students know that if their text arrives in front of me and it hasn't got an interesting title, I won't mark the work. I'll just send it straight back to them. Make sure that title is interesting and is exciting. It's the first thing your examiner or your audience is going to see, and is meant to engage the audience directly. In your introduction, short, sweet, interesting. Okay, because remember, if it's a blog, it's online, we're scrolling through. Okay, you're pushing like, you know, next button, next button, next button. I mean, you guys scroll Insta all the time. You know, if it doesn't have a hook or doesn't have something interesting in the first couple of seconds, you're carrying on scrolling. It's the same with the blog. And you got to think of your examiner as an audience. So how are you going to keep them interested? Anecdote, interesting fact, okay? Keep your paragraphs short, each paragraph focusing on a different idea. And that really helps with the planning, okay? You can use subheadings, you know, to basically break your different ideas up. Make your subheadings interesting. Your subheadings are just as important as your title. Those subheadings are kind of like the heading or the title for that paragraph. And then conclusion, okay? Summarize and end with a strong final thought. You know, like, subscribe, whatever it is. Okay, that's just me. You guys will probably be a lot better at that than I am. But think about maybe connecting it to your introduction in some way. So it's got like a nice cyclical cycle. We know examiners love that. Okay, so engaging your audience. You guys know your persuasive devices. Okay, you know that you've got those personal pronouns to connect with your audience. Have a look at the example. Have you ever looked at the clock and wondered where the day went? Rhetorical question. That's great. Engagement directly with the audience. Okay, or you could include a call to action in your conclusion. Share your ideas in the comments. Share your ideas in the share your ideas in the comments is an example. So you can do that. Again, just imagine it's a real audience, it's a real blog that you're writing. Okay. Stylistic features, guys, structural devices, language devices, study them, know what they do. I've got videos around here that'll explain to you some of those structural devices and language devices you need to know. So you could use a metaphor, you can use a short sentence for an impact, although short sentences are vital because you want to break up that rhythm so that it remains interesting for your reader. Short sentences, long sentences, medium sentences. So use figurative language, but obviously don't let the figurative language and the descriptive language distract the audience from what basically your main text is about. But the examiners are looking for it. That's what they want to see. Okay. Bullet points, numbered steps for instructions. Okay. These are visual elements. Now, you can't draw pictures. You can't add audio. Okay. So you can still make your text look interesting, and that's those visual elements that you want to include. So it shows the examiner you have a good idea of what, but now don't overdo the bullet points. 4, maybe 5 bullet points at the most, or 4 or 5 steps at the most. Don't overdo it. Remember, everything in balance. Okay. Teacher Adna, and then she's got some amazing videos. I'm going to link her channel just below this. But Teacher Adna's got some amazing videos, and one of them is about being specific. So you can invent information, okay? So you can make it up, okay? But examiners like it when you use those specific details. So you know, if you're discussing, say, you know, a bank, so it might be like Citibank, or I'm trying to think of banks, Santander, was that insurance? I don't know. Anyways, using specific things. Teacher Adne always gives the great example. There was an exam paper where a famous singer came to visit a school, and the students spoke about who the singer was, what the name of the school is. Those little details, okay, they really make your text. But also think about what is in the news at the moment, okay, or at least in the last kind of 5 years when you're writing, 3 to 5 years, so that the information is kind of relevant, okay? So again, makes it nice and interesting for your reader. Okay, so reference other blogs, and you heard me earlier referencing like Teacher Adna. So I did that to kind of give myself a bit of credibility, because Teacher Adna's got like the greatest videos of all time. So for me to kind of like say, guys, don't forget to check out Teacher Adna's videos, kind of like, you know, shows you that I know the other YouTubers out there, some of those top YouTubers out there that are basically creating great content. So it kind of makes me look okay. Okay. And in the exam, again, you can make this all up. Okay. So allowing your text to flow, and this is actually really, really important. Okay. This is where your subheadings could really help you. Or you can use those transitions or those linking phrases. Okay, so you guys know yourselves, you go onto the internet and you look up something and you want to scan pretty quickly to see what information is there and if it's valid. So if the person says, yeah, this looks like, at the subheadings, this looks like the type of information I want to see. So then you want the ideas to move within the paragraphs, and from paragraph to paragraph, you can also use those transitions between paragraphs as well. Okay, so allow your reader to logically move through your text, and it's how you plan your ideas that is so important. And that's where I say the subheadings is definitely going to help. Okay, so here is a blog writing checklist. So get your pen and paper out now. Okay, I'm going to give you a list of 10 things that you need to make sure you're thinking about when you're writing your blogs, or even when you're analyzing your blogs. Okay, see which of these devices are going to be available to you. So, number one, purpose and tone. Okay, what is the purpose of the text? To inform, to persuade? Is it reflective? Is it fun? Is it just meant to entertain? I kind of feel sometimes like my videos are just to entertain, and then hope that there's a purpose that students might be informed a little bit on the side. Okay, is it conversational? Is it suitable for the purpose of the text? Avoid slang unless you really are going to use it for a specific effect. Examiners don't really like slang, so maybe just like veer that one. Okay, voice. Okay, use that first person I, use that second person you. Okay, be consistent and show that basically it's got that consistent point of view. I said consistent twice there. That wasn't very consistent. Anyways, structure. Okay, we spoke about structure. Make sure you got a catchy, relevant, interesting title, great introduction. You got body paragraphs, okay, and an interesting conclusion that leaves your audience with like a nice, final thought, something for them to go, yeah, that was great. I want to go back to Teacher Nick's YouTube channel, hopefully. Okay. Maybe wait till the end, and then I might have something like as a surprise at the end. I didn't plan it, so maybe we'll see what goes on. Okay, don't forget to engage your reader. Okay, rhetorical questions, call to action, think of all your language devices, structural devices, persuasive devices that help engage the reader in what you are writing about. Okay, vary your sentence lengths for rhythm. Use figurative language to enhance, not to distract. Okay, highlight key points with those short, impactful sentences. Bullet points, numbered lists, those are absolutely fine. Don't forget to write like a hyperlink. You can even put it into your text if you're going to speak about a hyperlink. Okay, and that's simple. It's just like the HTTP, the colon, // It doesn't have to be real. Okay, crazyteachernick.com, something like that, afcwimbledon.com. Okay. Include current or realistic details. This is what I was saying earlier about being specific. Make the blog feel connected to present day issues. Okay, so that basically it remains interesting depending on what the question asks you to do. Read your question. The question is there to guide you. I've said that a million times too. Okay, reference other blogs, other organizations either. It kind of creates that sense of a wider conversation. Okay. Use those transitions, those linking words to connect ideas logically between paragraphs and also, within your text. But again, everything in balance. Don't overdo it, otherwise it looks weird. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will drop in links to Teacher Adna's channel. Please make sure you subscribe to Teacher Adna. Give her some likes. She's just come out with a brilliant video, which I'm going to be watching just after this It's a long one, but it's all about analysis and the different text types. So definitely worth going and checking out. And with that, there's nothing else left to say, but rock on, guys.